Okay, my name is Alyssa Veltre. I am here with Dr. Ashok Kaul from Kashmir. Dr. Kaul, can you introduce yourself?
Well, I was born in Kashmir, and my first 18 years were there. At the moment, I am teaching in Banaras in the university, which is central part of India. It's a premier institution, Banaras in the university.
Okay, that's wonderful. And you've been teaching since?
I have been teaching since 1980.
Okay.
I teach sociology and modernity and modern theories, also about Indian studies, and Kashmir is my special and it's discipline rather than. It puzzles me also because I was born over there, and when I came in central India, there was some sort of murmuring and some sort of moment in Kashmir. So it would always surprise me why that estrangement is there. India being a democratic, plural society, why Kashmiris are not happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
That is why I did 3-4 books on Kashmir. And finally I could understand that I am not speaking the truth that I did through my fiction,
Mm-hmm.
which is natively reclaimed. Maybe someday you may read that book and
I would look forward to it, absolutely.
find why I had written that book. So Kashmir has been my passion. Not that I was born there, but because I love that place. And secondary, its political movements, its estrangement has been my mission to know why it is.
Absolutely, and I can only imagine with some of the recent events this year, August 5th, with the Article 370 being repealed, that was very painful for you.
No. I think I may have another story to tell you about it.
Okay.
You might be surprised to know about it.
Yeah.
Because I think that the story of Kashmir is not known to most of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So Kashmir, if you understand, is a Jammu and Kashmir.
Right.
It is 3 regions,
Mm-hmm.
and one region has more land. I have not a map to show you. One region has more land, but people are less. That is Ladakh.
Mm-hmm.
It was least in the process of development. Second was Jammu. It is a Hindu majority, Muslims on the periphery,
Mm-hmm.
and developing. The more thrust of development was on Kashmir, which was a Muslim majority state. So how it came together, there's another history.
Mm-hmm.
English sold this Kashmir to a king,
Right.
which is known as Dogra's founder, who is Gulab Singh, in 1875 by a lease, something to that. And Ladakh was conquered by Gulab Singh. Jammu was given him as a gift by Sikhs.
Mm-hmm.
Gulab Singh was a was army commandant in what is called Ranjit Singh's this kingdom. If you have any idea about that,
I
Sikhs
have a
were the
vague idea.
rulers.
Yeah.
So their general was Gulab Singh.
Mm-hmm.
They say Ranjit Singh was very happy with him, and he gifted him one territory that's called Jammu.
Mm-hmm.
English sold Kashmir to Gulab Singh, and Ladakh was conquered, so it became Jammu and Kashmir. So now my answer to your question is this, that we had to go back to the history before we speak about how much time we do have. Kashmir basically came into contact with Islam in 13th century.
Okay.
And in coming contact with Islam, it were opposite traditions. Kashmiri Hindus, non-Muslims,
Mm-hmm.
and Kashmiri Muslims, Islam, they were opposite traditions. So it somehow happened that there was a great lady known as Lalita Daleshwari, if you have any idea about that. She thought these two great traditions are opposite traditions. She make a new formation
Mm-hmm.
where both these traditions could live simultaneously. And that is called a Rishi culture, Sufi culture
Okay.
of Kashmir. So she took Kashmiri Shaivism, she took Islamic Sufism in it, and she gave to the people. There were boundaries, and people understood it, and they speak this language. That is the belongingness of Kashmir. That is the Kashmiri identity. So it is not a formal religious of Islam the people are adhering to, nor is a formal Hinduism, but is a new philosophy that it is based in Kashmiri Shaivism and also Sufism of Islam. So it is how they accepted this new tradition, new life, and moved on. Its first rupture came when a native king was taken off from Kashmir, imprisoned in the plains of India, and the local queen became a mad lady. That was Mughals did it. Great Akbar did it. He took the native king Yusuf Shah Chak away from Kashmir, imprisoned him, and conquered Kashmir by deceit. The queen became a mad. She was a poetess. So she started singing songs of pathos that became the subjectivity of estrangement. So if Kashmir identity was given a lady, women, Lalidat, who has brought the two greater traditions, Islam and Hinduism, together, giving a new native formation to it, which is called Rishi culture, and that was lost because of Akbar conquered Kashmir through deceit, and the native king was imprisoned. The queen, who was a local peasantry girl, she became mad. She gave a poetry to us. Maybe it could have been done afterwards, but then we have first Mughals, then Pathans, then Sikhs. So to correct it process was a national movement. In 1930s, when India was undergoing the national movement, a pioneer leader of Kashmir, Sheikh Muhammad Abdullah, who was studying, and Nehru, both were two natives of Kashmir. Nehru's grandfather left Valley because he could afford to leave and save himself from the tyranny of Pathans in 17 something. Abdullah's grandfather, they could not leave, they got converted. So the great two grandsons, Nehru and Abdullah, they joined hands in 1930s and told, why we are the two natives, why don't we take this Kashmir out from this monarchies of Dogras, monarchies of Sikhs, because you had a history of monarchies since the Mughals annexed it in 16th century onwards till 20th century, 1930s. You had monarchies and monarchies, one after another. That had made Kashmiri culture inferior culture. His language was not, it is language. Language was given by Lalidat, that lady, but it got inferiority because either by Persian or by Sanskrit. It lost its meaning. So in 1930s, when these two leaders joined hands, they decided that they would go for a transformation of whole masses. Then we had a national movement, also Quit Kashmir movement, from 1930 to 1947.
Okay. And this was during British
was the
British
colonial
occupation.
masters.
Okay.
No, British has given two choices to the states. Either you annex with India or you accede with Pakistan.
Okay.
And when the partition happened, Muslim got their own state. So British gave two choices. The king, the city kings or the popular leader, they should decide about it, either to accede with Pakistan or India. The third choice was not there. Kashmir king was a Hindu. So he wanted to be standstill for some time. He didn't decide about it immediately. But unfortunately, when partition occurred, Pakistan had a tribal raid. When it had a tribal raid, so king was almost all compelled to join hands with India. And an Indian army came, saved Kashmir from those tribals who killed a lot of people, and it is how Kashmiri king acceded with India, accession.
Okay.
And when it happened, the local leader was Sheikh Muhammad Abdullah, that leader of Nehru's friend. So he had already committed Nehru that he would be the part of secular India. He doesn't want to go with the two-nation theory of Jinnah. They wanted to be part of secular India. Am I clear?
Yeah, absolutely.
So Abdullah was already with the Nehru. King was already with the Nehru now after 50s. Here is the story.
Okay.
Now my take over here is why this problem happened. Kashmir could have been on the path of development, where a sort of melting pot thesis would have come up with democratization and development. Maybe all those contradictions would have melted down for a wonderful transformative society. But unfortunately, it did not happen. It did not happen. A, nation was divided on religious card, Hindu, Muslim, and most of the composite places where common culture was, it was Kashmir, it was Bengal, it was Punjab, if you have any idea about India.
Mm-hmm.
So all these states were fragmented. Brother was here, sister was there. We speak same language, but it was divided in the hate of religion. So when it happened, so it did not allow Kashmir to go for the process of development. Being Pakistan, its next door neighbor,
Mm-hmm.
would always play Muslim card. And the result was the government of India did not pay any heed either to Jammu or to Ladakh.
Mm-hmm.
Ladakh remained least development. Jammu was ignored. All money was utilized on Kashmiri Muslims to woo them.
Mm-hmm.
And Muslims were so mystified with the religion's card, majority, that they looked towards Pakistan. Boundaries were tight. It was a Cold War era. Nobody knew what is other side.
Mm-hmm.
They, being the Muslims, that to illiterate masses, they thought there's a Nizami Mustafa other side. Nizami Mustafa means God's world. There's everything best in Pakistan. So they never could understand because Cold War allowed it to be like that.
Okay.
Cold War made Pakistan a strategic asset of West and America.
Mm-hmm.
Because then the West would fear that Soviet Union's Bolshevik revolution was coming closer and closer. So in order to face Soviet Union, Pakistan was used as a strategic depth. Kashmir became its strategic asset.
Mm-hmm.
So 1948 onwards, Jinnah died untimely, and the Prime Minister of Pakistan was assassinated in
Okay.
1953. And 1953 onwards, it was almost all a military rule in Pakistan.
Right.
So you have a religiously born country with a dictator from
Mm-hmm.
army. So his nationalism was Kashmir. This is our jugular vein. And there would be 24 hours propaganda against the Indian state, against non-Muslims, against that you are subjugated people. If Nehru dies, then what would happen to you? It would happen that. And boundaries were closed. You could not peep other side. So from 1953 to 1964, then in 1954, then some Western diplomats also came to Kashmir.
Mm-hmm.
Even Americans, shadow foreign secretary, some Alec Stevenson or something. He was not a foreign secretary, but he was supposed to be. He came and he told Abdullah that you can be a king tomorrow. Why are you with India? Not because he wanted, because they feared the Soviet Union was expanding. Soviet Union might not take over Pakistan, India. So they wanted Pakistan as a state who could defend it.
Okay.
So in the bargain of that, they promised Pakistan Kashmir. So therefore, Stevenson, perhaps Adele Stevenson, you may correct the name. So he just convinced Abdullah that he should go back to Nehru, ask for own kingdom.
Okay.
So he was prisoned. And when he was prisoned, with the result, the process became mystified.
Okay.
There were stories after stories, as if he was become holier than thou statue. In order to counter that, government of India or the Congress party at that time, they mushroomed the alternative to Sheikh Abdullah as a Congress secular party, but it was not so strong. So Pakistan, in the disguise of it, under the hidden agenda, they mushroomed Islamic politics, Jamaat Islamiyah schools, madrasas. So you have seen mushrooming of 50s, 60s schools.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, the land was hostile to it. People of Kashmir were very secular. They were very colonized people. They wanted new dawn. But they were under the cage of this new mystification, Islamic mystification of Salafi traditions, madrasas, anti-Abdullah, anti-conference, anti-Congress, anti-secularism.
Okay.
It moved on. Then we had 3 wars.
Mm-hmm.
I am cutting the story because there are questions to ask. Then we had 3 wars. Tribal war, then 65 war, Bangladesh war. So wars did not give Kashmir to Pakistan, but it simultaneously continued with this jihadist test propaganda, militancy, terrorism, and the result was in 89, first time we had armed insurgency Kashmir, and its own natives, Kashmiri Pandits,
Mm-hmm.
they were driven out. They were driven out all en masse, and there was no noise, there were no human rights. Almost all 400,000, 1.5 million people were driven from the valley. Nobody did speak because they did not form the vote bank. They were not closed. They were not any closed any power, either in the west or in the east or in the country. So they were deprived of their homes and roots, and there was armed participation in Kashmir. People were killed. Even Muslims got killed, and there was state response to that. When the state response, it continued 90s to till now. So my take over here is that Kashmir was an ailment after independence because of this mystification of religion.
Okay.
And other two regions were ignored. They had nothing to do with that. The valley was in an ailment. Either they don't know what the azadi is, what the freedom is. They cannot even explain it. If you ask any Kashmiri, what do you want? He will not be able to, or she will not be able to speak about what she wants.
Okay.
You have a Pakistan, a regimented fractured society, where a Punjabi hegemony plus army is supreme. You have an order to Indian secularism, whatever limitations it might be having, but it's a representative democracy. Even now, you have that, and the choice, where would be the choice would be? The natives have been driven out. Kashmiri Pandits, the tribals, they are mitigated. It was only a one Sunni community which was annoyed with India, and they wanted to be the part of the Pakistan.
Okay.
So it is their noise. So what is the result? What is the solution? Solution is, if you want to be a part of Ummah, then there are more Muslims in India than in Pakistan or any other country. What will happen to them? You can't afford another partition. Can you afford? You can't. So if you want ethnic racialism, separatism, independence, which English has not given that choice, then what about natives who have been driven out?
Right.
So if natives have been driven out, like Jews, so how can you have an ethno-nationalism?
Right.
You can't have. If you want to go with Pakistan, then what about the Muslims of India? And what is your choice? You want to be a Taliban? Go back to primordial backwardness? So they are confused, is ailment.
Okay.
Now, the big question is, the natives cannot go back because they have lost their roots. The neighbors are not the same. Environment is not the same. Social composition is not the same. Cultural capital is lost. So what would happen then? So the choice is either you go with Pakistan, whatever happens to you, let it happen. Jammu will not go, Ladakh will not go, you really should go, all right. And what will happen to you? That they are not ready for that because you will become Talibanized. You will be back to the history, medieval era. You will lose all those things. Or you have to be integrated. You can't be in the statement of ailment for all times together, which you are at the moment, under the guise of Article 365.
Right.
If you put an Article 365, whether it is the mainstream leaders or it is Hurriyat, the separatist, they all would play their games. And there are people to finance. It is Arab world, it is Pakistan, it is government of India was. Everybody has an interest in that. So people were in the state of ailment. So I think there were only two choices, either get it integrated or leave it. But Pakistan cannot take it by wars. It has tried. India cannot leave it.
Okay.
And the other thing was only integration. So integration they have done. Therefore, I think in the long run it will be a good thing. That's my take.
Okay. See, this is interesting because in the research that I did,
nobody would speak like this.
Yeah, no one.
Nobody knows this story. I would have taken much time to explain you why there is a cultural estrangement, how the language was made inferior, how the Rishi culture, composite culture flourished in Kashmir, but how it is being killed by the Salafi and formalism of religion. It is being killed at. And what is Kashmiriyat is not commingling of traditions, it is blending of traditions.
Right.
Commingling is a difference, binaries, animosity, competition. It is what it is being done because they have money to do this. And minorities have been driven out, mitigated. Those who are the real natives, intellectual community. But they were not criminals. And nobody would listen to them.
Right. So, I mean, then it comes to. So I understand that Pakistan is the Muslim majority, but then India is still a Hindu majority. But then
Imagine, in
Imagine.
1945, India is 80% Muslims,
Okay.
and it was 1/5 in the working power of the world.
Okay.
Even then, neither it became a Hindu state nor it became a communist country.
Okay.
It was a secular, centrist, representative democratic nation state.
Mm-hmm.
And in the world today, even now, you don't have alternative to that. Give me the alternative and be where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have alternative to democracy yet. It might have its own limitations,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't have any alternative. We have tried monarchies, we have tried kingdoms, and modernity has given us this thing with its limitations and difficulties. But you can't go back to the primordial era,
Mm-hmm.
in a Talibanized era, where religious formalism will work and then you will see it is human rights.
Right.
This is not, this world, a civilized society will never accept it.
Mm-hmm.
In the heart of hearts, if we may become a helpless.
Okay.
So Hindu majority could not become a Hindu state. It could have become when the country was divided on religious card, two-nation theory.
Mm-hmm.
But the leadership understood it. Nehru, what is called Abul Kalam Azad, Muslim leaders, both, they understood it. No, we will not go this way. We will go with a Western democratic paradigms and lead country towards like that.
Mm-hmm.
And someday or other, everything will be all right. So Article 370 was a temporary identity thing, so that this Muslim majority at the peripheral state, closing to Pakistan,
Mm-hmm.
should not feel that they will be assimilated.
Okay.
So that was the understanding, but it was not an instrument where which the extremist fundamentalist parts could be played.
Okay. But the government now in India, I mean, I know you said you might be a little uncomfortable going too far into it,
No,
but
I don't mind.
okay.
Yes.
But I mean, it is a Hindu nationalist viewpoint. How?
No, I don't belong to any political party. Let me
Okay.
tell you, confess you openly. But I understand what was the choice. It was in their manifesto.
Mm-hmm.
In each political party's manifesto, you will find that we want Kashmiri society back to the transformation. Let their people have a freedom. Let people have a choices, and they are spending money. But what is the alternative to do? Either you leave it to the tribalism,
Mm-hmm.
leave it to the Wahhabi, Salafi movement, and see the development in the occupied Kashmir, which Pakistan is having, or this Kashmir, which India is having. It is hugely west, and that is hugely down.
Okay.
So the history tells us that people in the heart of hearts do not want to go with the Pakistan.
Mm-hmm.
But it is religious fear, extremism, terrorism, guns, maybe a few having,
Mm-hmm.
and that doesn't allow to do. On the other side, you have a Muslim voices in India. It is all right. There might, at the time being, there might not be stiffed with that,
Mm-hmm.
but it is an electioning process.
Okay.
You don't have a. It is not all the time you will have this. It can change.
Mm-hmm.
People will be unhappy with these decisions. They can throw away, and it has a resilience. Indian state has government. People of India have a resilience to change people. They threw out Indira Gandhi. Even she had conquered Bangladesh.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't mind it. They gave power to the regional parties. So if Prime Minister Modi will become unpopular by its own decisions, he will not be in the power.
Okay. So then, what is your take from what you just said on them shutting down the communications in Kashmir?
You know, if you read Bauman?
No, I have not.
He's a sociologist, died last year at the age of 99.
Okay.
You know, if you like me, for me, travel to Western world is a hassle
Mm-hmm.
with my own passport. I have to go like this. It is now, if you want security, you have to leave freedom.
Okay.
If you want freedom, then it will be insecurity. It is a new combination.
Mm-hmm.
Previously, in modernity, it was assumed that freedom with security will be together. Now, either you have full freedom and then you have to give some insecurities. So it is in Kashmir. If they would have not done it, communication back, there would have who would have prevailed? Terrorism, telephones, mystifications. There's nothing like a civil society in that part of the world.
Okay.
There's nothing like a rationalized mind.
Mm-hmm.
It is always propaganda and mystification.
Okay.
So if I'm in this room, if it would have been the third world country, like in Pakistan, Kashmir, there would have been stories about it.
Okay.
So when such things do happen, it is better to shut down that communication for time period.
Okay.
It is important. If my telephoning, keeping phone over here, is something to do with the security, why should I have it here?
Right.
For the general passes.
Okay, so there is, you're saying there is a general...
It is not a permanent feature.
Okay.
They did allow telephones, no, they don't allow internets, these WhatsApps, because it will spread. Who will prevail? The person who has a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Do write this, do like this. Common people do not speak there.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense in theory,
Yeah.
but I feel that in practice it's not... There's
In practice,
issues, there's riots already.
The question is that, my question is that, the common pieces never supported guns, but it did have since 90.
Okay.
And that brought state to the power, to the military army, to the valley. When I was in my childhood, I would see only two policemen having these lathis, these what is called sticks.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have any guns,
Okay.
but they would control the whole people, whole places. It was only after 89 when there was a insurgency through guns, killings of
Mhm.
innocent people, killings of on the pretext that he's an informer, he's a like this, he's like that, he's agent, and killing masses, killing non-Muslims. Our Indian state entered in. When Indian state entered in, and there can be, I cannot defend them. There must have been certain violations,
Mm-hmm.
and that is but natural. If you want to be away from a state, state will react. And if you want to be away, tell me that you can't liquidate minority.
Mm-hmm.
If I am here, you cannot tell me that all blacks should die and that only white person should live.
Right.
It doesn't happen
Right.
in history. We have come to this, after centuries together, we have come to this nation state of a democratic pluralism. We have to respect it.
Mm-hmm.
We have to respect the right of everybody, whosoever you may be. Minority can be neither liquidated nor floated. If there are violations of rights, what about the minorities who are there? So I would say there are problems. There's no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
And but it is a temporary phase.
Okay, but
Yes.
do you ever think about that as possibly a human rights violation? Because there are like reports from the prime minister that things are fine.
No, things are fine in a sense if you see the multitude of people, Muslims of India, minorities in India, and the minorities in Kashmir,
Mhm.
majority in India, majority in Kashmir. In view of, draw a big scenario, see a holistic picture,
Mhm.
then what are the choices? Under the choices, then you will say, all right, it can be done with. You need food, shelter, clothing. You need free expressions,
Mhm.
and you don't need maybe these phones have been for the last 2 decades. Before that, we don't have mobile phones or televisions even.
Okay.
So people can live without it, but people want lives should be safe. You can't have Pakistan wants mayhem to happen over there.
Mhm.
They want people should be killed.
Okay.
They want something should happen. There should be war. People should be killed, and it's the power politics.
Okay.
But no sensible government of India would allow that its people should be killed,
Right.
and it will give a bad image internationally. When your agenda is a business agenda,
Mhm.
and you are doing well in Silicon in the developmental phase for the last 1 decade, would any government be mad that it should have a bad image in the world?
Mhm.
So this was the only alternative to keep it off from the ailment.
Okay.
Maybe you may suffer for 10 years, 5 years, and then it will be all right.
Mhm.
But Pakistan should allow it. Prime Minister Imran Khan openly telling the United Nations that I deal with the Allahu Akbar, then we go for war.
Mhm.
If a Prime Minister speaks that language, Army speaks that language, NGO speaks that language, journalists speak language, what is left with the civilization?
Right.
You can't have a prime minister speaking that language. State language. We'll go for a walk. We'll make missiles. If you listen to language of their ministers, railway minister, religious minister, they say we'll kill all those countries or people who support India, secularism. How should it happen? When world doesn't tell them what language are you speaking in United Nations. There is no religious preachings in United Nations.
Right.
There should not be. It is a public space. My hate, my love is my personal thing. But when I come to a public space, I must speak that language which is acceptable to you. You will speak that language which is nice to me.
Right.
And it should be the public space like that. And it is best possible only in a representative democracy. In a dictatorship where he's being caged by an army and structures of primordial structures of Talibanic, these formulas of religion, of fundamentalism, do you think that world should listen to that? But at the same time, we have to see why it is happening all over the world that the freedom is becoming peril and young men are disillusioned and religion is becoming important. If religion is not becoming important, at least politics or religion is becoming important. These are the questions that the civilization has to think about it together.
Okay.
I think the center which you have one, which John is heading, I think these are the centers which will have solutions to these questions.
Right. You brought up an interesting point on the capture and killing of pro-India. Like, that's something that's happening now too, though. Like, can you tell me your take on Farooq Abdullah's home arrest?
Farooq Abdullah's father was a freedom fighter, Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah, who he joined hands with Nehru, Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India, to take Kashmir along with India on a secular democratic path. But when the Cold War appeared, world got divided into Soviet Union bloc and a American bloc, USA bloc. That made Pakistan to set side with America and Western world against Soviet Union.
Okay.
Soviet Union was coming to the Afghanistan even.
I see.
When Soviet Union, Russia, then now Russia, Soviet Union came into Afghanistan. So Western world with America, they supported Taliban.
Right.
They supported jihadi culture,
Yes.
madrasa culture,
Okay.
along with Saudi Arabia and Iran, against communism expansion. So with the result, when Soviet Union withdrew from Afghanistan, the jihadis were used by Pakistan against Kashmir
Okay.
and India too. We had Simi's movement, we had Salafi movement, we had this Barelvi movement, which was unheard. So it is happening now, and now those leaders who have been house arrested, they did not play their role,
Okay.
decisive role.
Mm-hmm.
They should have stood and firmly spoken against it, but they feared their lives.
Mm-hmm.
With the result, they played either,
Okay.
running with the hound and killing with the what is that story?
Okay. See, that's interesting because
Running with the hare and killing with the hunter.
Yeah.
They played like a game. There were a separatist, militant separatist group who believed in gun culture openly. Then there were non-separatists, Farooq Abdullah, Sheikh Abdullah, that lady Said, Mufti Said, so-called secular mainstream politics. They played hidden game, compromise and this. Yes. It happens everywhere in all countries. So with the result, this one move, it has made them irrelevant to the masses. But still masses have no voice at the moment, so it doesn't come up.
Okay.
We hear the one side story of elite stories. We don't hear the masses. And after 4 or 5 years, you will say they will not even speak to them. Nobody wants to lose a child.
Right.
Nobody wants to lose his wife. Nobody wants to get raped.
Right.
Why should it happen? When it did not happen till 1990. Why should it happen in now?
Right.
So from 1948, when Kashmir was independent to India, till 1990, I was there. We were there. When we were drawn out, it happened. If I take you back, Kashmiri Pandits were the transforming agent, 100% educated, And they were the transforming agency for the vast majority of Muslims to take them on education, health, everything. So it was becoming a composite culture, blending rather than commingling. People were happy. There was no army. Army were in barracks. There was nothing like this. When Pakistan, Soviet Union withdrew from Afghanistan, those Talibanized, vicious killers, they came to the valley, created mayhem. And first minority left, it ran away, en masse. They saved their children, wives, daughters. They ran away. Then Muslims became the target, those soft Muslims. But they never speak. Even Farooq Abdullah ran away to London in 1990.
Okay.
So their politics is dead if this particular move has made their politics dead, irrelevant. So therefore, they are not houses. They are Farooq Abdullah in his own house. So he knows it, that his politics has gone.
Okay.
He cannot play this double game. Double game and international opinion. One in India, second in Kashmir is third. People are tired of it. They want relief. They are sick of this terrorism. They are sick of this gun culture. They want to go with the West. They want to go in mainstream India and do business. Move.
Okay.
I have my best friend, Muslim friend. When I talked to him personally, school child friend. So his daughter was to get married. I had to pay some money, gift to him. After many years, I have not seen him. But he says, well, it had to happen. Otherwise, it was a process of ailment for generations together. Now, government of India has to become responsible. Some corporate world will go there. They will have business. People move up. People are intelligent. Kashmiris, Muslims are very good intelligent people. They are educated. They are fair people. They are nice language, decent people. They will leave out from these primordial ailments of religious formalism. And they will move on the ladder of development as I see a transformed society, a new morning.
Okay.
Provided peace prevails in India and normalcy comes to Kashmir.
Okay. See, this is all interesting because American media has portrayed this in a very different light. And I don't know if that's just because of limited information or just different values.
I think, that there's a lot of funding. Funding for spreading such it. And maybe people want arms to sell. There's a business might be there.
Okay.
Third, maybe it is the majority people in non-Western world who have power. And fourth, because you can't have clash of civilizations. The way it is being propagated, as if there's a clash of civilizations. Even when Huntington wrote that book, even it was criticized by everybody, civilized world. No, you want Imran Khan speaking same language, world does not criticize him. He's asking for a clash of civilizations, and people should understand it. The world should know it. That you can't buy these things. You have any alternative to pluralistic, democratic, representative government? You have any alternative nation state? You don't have. If you do not have, you can make people accountable,
Right.
but you cannot reject the idea.
Okay.
If I have to choose whether I will speak in a university, I will always try to speak in a university rather than to a place where I will be killed.
Right, of course.
It is a choice between India and Pakistan. At least you can speak in the university in India, you can talk about it. I do not like many things about present government, but that doesn't mean me that whatever good is being done in the longer run, I should reject it.
Okay.
That nobody shed a tear when 300,000 and 400,000 people were drawn out. There are only books now written. And if you read those books, I think the new generation will understand what had happened, but they couldn't think that time. This time there's a tremendous propaganda, money, funding, and it's a global world, WhatsApp, media. So many truths are being just under the carpet. Those who have power, those who have money, they play with it.
Okay. And then you brought up another interesting point about how Pakistan is always looking for war. These are two nuclearized nations.
Yes.
What can you tell me more about?
World has to try to see that their nuclear arms doesn't go to the militants. You know what is there in Pakistan? If you follow the news, it is hegemonic Punjabi culture that prevails, and its army.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, Imran Khan was married to Jamina Khan,
Mm-hmm.
and he was a very liberal man. He would come India, he would go to West. He raised a hospital in Pakistan, cancer hospital, very special hospital. He was loved. Then he had second wife,
Mm-hmm.
who was a moderate. Then even then he was. This third wife he had, she's terribly formalistic, religious woman. Now he has a that what is called beads Imran Khan. When he's in office,
Mm-hmm.
he counts those beads. Allah, 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 Allah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So it is the influence of the third wife, because she might have told him, you the structures like that is a Talibanized, it is a religious community structures in Pakistan. If you have to survive, army is the main shareholder of the resources.
Okay.
Army is everywhere. You see any industry, they have a share. In any lands, they have a share. In any purchasing and constructions, they have a share. So they don't want any civil ruler to dictate to them.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have their own accountability.
Mm-hmm.
They will have accountable political leaders, but they don't have their own accountability.
Mm-hmm.
So they find Imran Khan absolutely lovable boy this time.
Okay.
Even if he's a good face, Western mind. So when he speaks, India is doing this, India is doing that, people believe him
Mm-hmm.
because it's a good language, soft language, nice personality.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is that he's caged. How can you expect an illiterate, fractured, always divided Pakistan to have nuclear arsenals? Bad,
Mm-hmm.
sad, and always speaking language anti-democracy, anti-India, anti-civilizations, anti-this. Why?
Mm-hmm.
No, they have a reason, because for Soviet Union defense, they were utilized by Western world. And can you imagine, Osama bin Laden was found there,
Mm-hmm.
and they would never say it.
Right.
And people believed it that. So similarly, they are propagating this time. World is buying it because America wants to leave from Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
So they do not mind maligning India a little.
I see.
Yeah, it's international politics,
Yeah.
because President Trump has to leave from Afghanistan, and he has promised to his
Mhm.
people.
Yeah.
So he cannot be without the support of Pakistan
Okay.
that way. So he cannot annoy them completely.
Mm-hmm. Because
Otherwise, the persons are thousands of miles away. Americans lose their children. What for?
right, of course. This is a very different take. The
So for me, it is love. It is peace. It is civilized person. That is important.
right.
It is not warmongering. It is not playing with the institutions.
Okay.
So when I look at it, I find representative democracy has no alternative till date. So
Mhm.
we must allow it to sustain.
Okay.
And we must allow people of diverse faiths, religions to be together.
Mm-hmm.
It's only possible in representative democracy. It's not possible in a theocratic monarchies or
Okay.
army-controlled nation states.
Okay. I don't know. I think the one thing that's really tripping me up still would be you said that it's a temporary solution to shut down communications, but for some reason that is still bothering me. Like, for how long do you think that will go on? And you said that it was also a problem for a while that the masses, their voices weren't being heard. Are their voices not important right now?
No, the question is that if Pakistan is always trying to, the Prime Minister of Pakistan in the
Mhm.
United Nations did speak to the world leaders that if there is not clamped down or a curfew is lifted, there will be mayhem,
Mhm.
and then Pakistan will be targeted by India.
Right. But
And
even not in a way where it's
So-
against Pakistan. It's
Lis-
just, oh, sorry.
Listen to me. And then Pakistan will target, and India might launch an attack on us. Then we will
Mhm.
react, and it will be a world war,
Okay.
nuclear war. So it didn't happen. We have 100 days. People did not die.
Mm-hmm.
There is a clampdown, I understand. But people are happy that people did not die.
Okay.
There were terrorist terrorists did strike, but they could not create mayhem.
Mhm.
So, in order to that, there was absolutely necessary for Pakistan. They just jihadis, they created these again. People sneak inside, create problems.
Mhm.
They want to show the world that whatever the primes are told, it is true.
Okay.
So therefore, if Pakistan is being told, well, you are exposed,
Mhm.
there should be proper people have it. I am sure United States or Western world they have their stories. They know the truth,
Mhm.
but they just play slow. Maybe it is because of Afghanistan, maybe because it is the Muslim world, because something some other reasons. They know the truth. If Pakistan is being told very strictly, we'll take off your these nuclear arsenals.
Mhm.
Whatever means we have, we will take it off. Like we take Osama bin Laden.
Okay.
Shut up. Allow India to do. Give them at least 4 or 5 years,
Okay.
and give them some peace. Let us see how it works.
Mhm.
And tomorrow there will be communications. There will be, most young boys, girls are in the not in the valley, but they are in India,
Mhm.
studying business management, this and that, all over the world.
Mhm.
And they have business relationships. Now, do you think anybody in this world of mass media and electronic revolution would love to have communication star? No, it is because of security reasons.
Mhm.
If people are killing people, what would you do?
Right.
Why should you need a mobile if I know my home people are not safe because of this?
Okay.
So it is simply because there is a people are in madrasas taught 24 hours.
Mhm.
This is the religion. You will get hoods, you will get heaven. They are taught to die rather than to live.
Okay.
And then and it is an industry, it is a money industry. So they send boys on 35,000 rupees, 35 or some $50,000, $20,000, $100. Go, give
Mhm.
yourself. They have nothing to lose because they think that they will go to heaven. And at the same time, this world is so competitive they cannot match.
Mhm.
This world is so competitive that if people do not match, they either go to the militancy or join religion
Okay.
because they want identity.
I see.
And this identity cannot come. Only whosoever excels in this system, he becomes civilized.
Mhm.
Or else they turn either depressive or go to this what is called this armed struggle.
Mhm.
Why should Americans go to join ISS? Well, this is such a country giving everything. Why
Right.
should they go? Why should Manhattan should happen September 11 here? Why? Why should it happen? What people have done.
Mhm.
So if it happens in Kashmir,
Mhm.
so any government cannot stand to it, and who will bother for communications then?
Right.
People are happy. People are only, Kashmiris are a very community. They don't want to come out from the valley for living together. They live in their state, go do business, come back.
Mhm.
So within that 4 walls, 3 districts, it's not a big land. So they are happy. Communication doesn't matter much to them. There is oral traditions, moving, talking,
Mhm.
speaking. It is unlike West.
Okay.
So it is not always communication through instruments. It is oral. It is meeting people,
Okay.
going to the mosque, playing games. So if death can be stopped, I think it is a good decision.
Okay.
If death can be stopped,
Of
death
course.
of innocent people,
Yeah.
death of and finally women in this fundamentalist regimes
Mhm.
are the most suffered lot.
Mhm.
They don't believe in these communications.
Right.
They are veiled, they are tortured,
Mhm.
they are used. Yeah, you read my novel, I have given every description on it. I have written 3 books, Kashmir Contested Identity. You read it.
Mhm.
Nobody has opposed it till date, 20 years. Nobody. I gave 3 lectures in Kashmir on this. Nobody speak against me in 2010
Hmm. That's
because these are the realities.
right. That's it's a very sobering way to think about it. That there's probably a few things that Americans and just the West in general
Because they don't have sense of history.
Right, of
Question
course.
Question is this, that Americans do not have sense of history.
Yeah.
Why there is a cultural estrangement.
Mm-hmm.
There are reasons for this. Who are the agents? What are the structures? How the structuration take place? And then for me, Kashmir is not a political dispute. It is a cultural estrangement.
I see. Okay. Yeah, and then that really does change the way the research went because...
and then the question is that you have made this language inferior.
Right.
Kashmiri, nobody writes in Kashmiri. They have been always told your referent is West Asia.
Mm-hmm.
So they never look towards the South Asian Sufism. They look West Asia, fundamental, Klergi and Islam.
Okay.
With the result, Pakistan plays that game. Our country is based. Imran Khan, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, speaks in public meetings. This country has born on La ilaha illallah.
Mm-hmm.
La ilaha illallah means Pakistan.
Right.
So it is seducing.
Mm-hmm.
It is seducing even to an educated Muslim in Kashmir.
Right.
So they don't mind dying for it. So
Yeah.
no sane government would allow innocent people to die for it.
Yeah.
Kashmiris are not by and large ready to protest even.
Okay.
More protests we see in Western media rather than inside Kashmir.
Okay.
Because they don't want to die now. They have seen enough of ailment for the last 3 decades.
Understood.
We don't want to die now. I want to go back to my home.
Right, of course.
Yes, I want to. My father died at the age of 99. He would have lived 120 years.
Mm-hmm.
But because he lost his home. And home, his neighbors were nice. My friends are Muslim friends, nice. But what would you do when the gun culture comes, illiterate man who has a logic that if he martyrdom is there and it will take him to heaven if he kill non-Muslim? What would you do to that?
Right.
And state policies like that.
Mm-hmm. I guess then just my last question would be...
And before you speak,
Oh,
last question, these human rights are only viable till you have fundamental rights.
Mm-hmm.
Food, shelter, clothing,
Mm-hmm.
and reasons to live.
Right.
Then you can think about other things. Otherwise, I for one would think, why I should my passport be checked and checked and checked because I'm Indian.
Mm-hmm.
But if I think from the other perspective, well, America wants security to its citizens,
Mm-hmm.
so it's a must. So I can understand. It is the same question. If you want a security, you don't allow communications to be an instrument of creating mayhem.
Okay.
It is how it is.
Yeah.
Others
Yeah.
who would have wished that in the university should have checks and bells, and I have a key. There is not written their room number. I was told why the room number is not there in the key. This is for security reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So why? Because I understand things are happening like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be careful. Others, the humorists will say, well, I don't know my room number. My key is not even room number. I was mad.
Right.
But these things are happening in a society which is illiterate, Pakistani society, which is absolutely warmongered, which is used by Soviet Union, Americans, the Western would have used it. They know only one language, kill or get killed.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely a
It has
different...
become an industry to be transferred to anywhere in the world. It is because for the last, since September 11, that United Nations, USA with Western allies have made tight this foreign policy, immigration policy. Otherwise, what would have happened?
Yeah. No, when you put it that way, it seems a lot more obvious.
It is, I tell you,
Yeah.
what would have happened? They must be knowing it at high-ups.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have believed that Ummah means no private public space. Once Hall, Hall, he was a cultural writes. He writes, once somebody would stand on a bus stand, they are
Mhm.
waiting for a bus to come, and a bearded person was pushing him, because till the bus did not come, he was thinking that this public space, so much I will gain
Mm-hmm.
notionally. So if this is the mentality that you have to conquer places, you have to convert, you have to conquer,
Mm-hmm.
all religions are useless, democratic, this secularism is useless. If if it is in the veins, if it is in the blood, then what would the world would be? Now, state and the establishment, army, they should play sensible. They do not play sensible. You have seen the case of Osama bin Laden. You have seen this case of these militant attacks.
Mm-hmm.
You have seen it. So how do you think that India can be safe place without having some curbing on these communications or securities checks and balances, army? If there is no army, they will have a mayhems,
Right.
and they don't mind losing people. So Kashmir needs respite. Its
Right.
people, gentle, wonderful girls and boys, they need to have a sense of relief.
Of course.
That's only possible if peace prevails in Pakistan, peace prevails in India, normalcy happens in Kashmir.
Okay.
If Pakistan going on playing, they should live like Canada and India, America,
Mm-hmm.
rather than 24 hours on this thing that Kashmir, Kashmir, Kashmir. Pakistan knows India is not going to leave Kashmir. And Pakistan knows by wars it cannot take Kashmir. So why not have a peace for 30, 40 years?
Mm-hmm.
If people decide themselves then, if the people are developed, they decide, then it is not a big problem then.
Mm-hmm.
They may live together, there may be no boundaries. But if you do not allow that to happen, so there you need to be, there you need to protect your citizens. If you go to Kashmir, if there will be always guns and bombs and strikes, what would happen?
Mm-hmm.
State has to give you protection. They may
Right.
tell you, keep off this mobile. They may know you.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the real practical problems.
Okay.
And freedom, this human rights, it becomes a luxury then.
Mm-hmm.
It's only when you are civilized, all other things are given, then you may question it.
Mm-hmm.
But if your own survival is at stake with an unreasonable militant who believes religious fundamentalism, core from head to feet and heart to nose, what would you do with him? Why would you give the freedom of rights, human rights? It's useless.
I see. Well, you actually answered my last question. So, yeah, no, this really does change the way Western media has portrayed all
Because
of
they don't
this.
have it. Neither they read books, nor they have go inside the common masses,
Mm-hmm.
nor they have sense of history.
Yeah, of course.
That is a tragedy.
Even in classes, you know, that students take in America now, world history classes, that doesn't talk about this.
That is a tragedy.
Absolutely.
You have to see, even if America, how did nationalism grow here? It had a melting pot thesis. When in 1930s, everybody was thinking, ridiculing its own culture
Mm-hmm.
and accepting America. I have seen all those novelists, they ridiculed their culture, primordial, backward, because America was a dreamland.
Mm-hmm.
And they lived together. They worked hard
Mm-hmm.
till 60s. Then 60s we have movements era. If I have also done, if white has done, black has also done,
Mm-hmm.
if native has done, non-native has also done. So there were contrapuntal movements.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore you have new waves, new human rights, new streams, new formations. Now in 2000 onwards, especially after September 11, people who are immigrants, they don't take America as their country. They live in imagined communities.
Mm-hmm.
Is the earning place, then go and build mosques, do temples, this, that, in their own countries.
Mm-hmm.
Their identity crisis. This is an identity crisis. This identity crisis, in order to excel themselves, they play blame games.
Mm-hmm.
Blame games. They accuse. It is happening in countries also. Instead of Pakistan blaming itself for its own development and
Mhm.
state of affairs, it plays blame games and make world to be mystified in that. That is not a true story. If migration goes this way, is the third way of migration, Europe is facing the problem, United States will face the problem, Western world would collapse. What will happen to that world? That is the rupture in modernity. So
Yeah.
therefore, I understand these centers are very important centers,
Yes, of course.
and they will fill up the blanks, give the missing links
Mhm.
where we went wrong.
Yeah, definitely. And we're incredibly grateful for speakers like you who are willing to work with us and help
That
do
is
that
why
work.
I wrote. That's why I tell you I wrote. This was my question: why people are estranged. My best friend is a Muslim friend. I lived in Kashmir peacefully till 1990. Yet people are annoyed. Then I wrote 2-3 books on Kashmir, and finally, even then, I told I could not tell my story, common man's story. Then I had to write a novel,
Right.
and then I feel sort of because it is a debt I owe to my people, to my community, to this whole world. Before leaving, I must give whatever I have. People may reject or accept, it doesn't matter. But whatever I can give to the community, to the whole world, I think. And if nativity is growing, that is universality. If nativity is growing, there's universality. Nobody wants to kill anybody.
Right.
They want compassion, they want understanding. But if nativity is codified in a formalism and imposed by somewhere, that is binaries, that is hate, it is happening. You have peace centers all over the world, interfaith dialogue, it is hate spread. It has to grow up soon.
Right.
And when you listen to these propagandas, it creates more hatred, more binaries. Well, I for one, believe in the human project, that in togetherness. And in togetherness, human project, maybe we may have to speak there also in the afternoon. In human togetherness, I think these centers where religious studies and interfaith studies, common traditions, consensus traditions, where people have grown together, it has to be strengthened. Rather than we should stay the language of state leaders or military establishments, we have to have movements from people, ordinary people. Their stories are to be heard. People who are not powerful, their stories are to be written. The stories and poetry who has remained till now unsung, that is to be heard. And that is why we have to make a new world order based on compassion and love, rather than on competition, rather than on hate and if he is the terrorist, then who am I? Who am I? I am you. I am you. If I am you, I can forgive all those bad things which I would perceive in you. So if I think, no, it's take care, I should take care of myself, so I'm going to thrash you. So this is how I think that new centers should be based on compassion and love. Till now, we don't have any treatment to love. We have seen only how to create the other and binaries and move with that. I think Kashmir is a classical case which has been mystified in religion. When it was demystified, then we had a one-polar world. And they thought that this one-polar can be translated by a new Islamic order. And that is why they were again from mystification, they were demystified, and then now it stands disillusioned. Lot. Disillusion was an ailment for 3 decades. I think this modern step by government of India might look a methodologically wrong step, but in the longer run, I think this disillusion will prevail a ray of hope for a new society, a transformed society that accepts the difference, that lives in multicultural traditions, that lives in pluralism, and moves on human values of peace and parity.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, and that is actually a perfect way to wrap up, as we
Thank you very much.
did run out of time. But thank you so much for taking the time to come here.
Thank you, Alyssa.
To come here.
Thank you, Alyssa.
To come here.
Thank you, Alyssa.
To come.